Grab your big book, your pen, your highlighter, and notepad and get ready to hear and apply some of the solution from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous through the experience, strength, and hope of Nikki M. To have a question addressed in a future episode of Noodle It Out with Nikki, please send an email to noodlewithnikki@gmail.com, and Nikki is spelled with 2 Ks. To get a more interactive experience with Nikki as she noodles out life and recovery questions using the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, you can get a link to her weekly Noodle It Out with Nikki meeting held live on Zoom every Monday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The information to that meeting is in the show notes of this podcast. God morning, God afternoon, and God evening to all. My name is Justin B., and I'm a son of an all-powerful, all-loving, perfectly loving and qualifying addict, and I'm looking out my front window here in Spokane, Washington, and a breeze just came by and a whole bunch of red leaves are floating by my window. It's beautiful, amazing, and sad at the same time to see the summer leaving. But grateful to be here with Nikki M, the intelligent agent, spearhead of God's ever-advancing creation. Please come off and say hi here. Come off mute and say hi, Nikki.
Hi, everybody. And I'm a grateful member of many fellowships. And I'm in Toronto, Canada, seeing the same thing. Most of the leaves are off. I've had to rake because my 4-pound dog, if you leave the leaves out, too much information, you can't find his little poop. So I'm out there raking every day, little guy. But I'm from Orange County, California. And I'll tell you, Justin, to live in Toronto, Canada, and see the change in seasons, I have, after 30 years, I'm 51, spent the first couple decades in California. I love the change in season, especially as a woman. These fall boots and fall coats, I need time to wear them. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And as a transplant from Phoenix, Arizona, where there were basically 2 seasons, hot and super hot, where leaves didn't really change or anything like that, I love the changes of the leaves. I'm still trying to get used to the gray and dreary winter, but it's good stuff. Thank you for being here, Nikki. So Noodle It Out with Nikki is an exercise and deep dive into finding solutions to questions that we or others we work with or you out there in the listening audience encounter in everyday life. And we bring those to the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. So if you have a question out there that is sitting on you and you're just wondering, man, I just can't seem to find the light in this situation, consider sending us an email at noodlewithnikki@gmail.com or jump in the Noodle It Out with Nikki WhatsApp group. You can find the link to that in the show notes of the podcast. Post that question there and we may just get to it and bring it to this podcast platform. All right. So today we are going to hit a question that was brought into the WhatsApp group. And this question comes from, well, I don't know who it comes from, but the question is, my spouse, my partner, is very controlling. I'm working my steps, specifically step 4, and asking for serenity, but I'm still very resentful toward my partner. What more or what else can I do? So, Nikki, what does the book say about that?
Well, the book says a lot about this. Controlling, aren't you controlling? That's okay. Anyway, we're not. So number 1, let's just go there as I've got so many thoughts in my head with this because I think we should start here. If you're working on your step 4, this person, number 1, says they're still working their steps and on step 4. These are not just instructions for step work. So let's turn to page 67 because this question started out with, my partner is controlling, or my controlling spouse. Now on page 67, if you're working your 4th step, you would have read that you are to put out of your mind, page 67, you are to put out of your mind the wrongs others have done and resolutely, which is 100%, look for your own mistakes. So your first mistake is that you're talking about your controlling spouse, taking his inventory, because it says, see where you are selfish, where you are dishonest, where you are self-seeking, and where you are frightened. See, you haven't even followed your step 4 instructions. But Nikki, but no. This is how you live life. You are to every day put out of your mind the wrong, the controlling spouse, right? It actually says we disregard the other person entirely. You're not doing that. Nikki, that's just the instruction for my step 4, says this person. No, it's not. This is instructions on how you walk through life. So everybody, I'm not even in a 12-step program, even better. You were born and there is an instruction book for life. Miss Normie, Mr. Normie, who thinks they don't need to be here and they're here listening to this podcast with their spouse, okay, or your child. This is for you. This is how you live your life. You are every day to put out of your mind the wrongs others. And who's others? Everybody. Your government, your controlling spouse, your lazy children, your neighbors, everybody. And you are to look at your own mistakes. Oh, well, Nikki, I'm not. You make mistakes, Miss Perfect. Mr. Perfect. It says, where had you been selfish? You're selfish when you can try and tell anyone how to live their life or what to do. You're dishonest when you say you're no good or someone else is no good. You don't know. You're self-seeking when you start any statement with I, me, self, alcoholism. Frightened. Everyone, I'm not frightened. Yeah, you're frightened because you're worried. You're angry. If you're angry, you're frightened. You're not in love and peace. And then it says, even if situation's not your fault. Okay, Nikki, it's not my fault. He's controlling. She suffers a disease of alcoholism. Okay, that's fine. You're still to disregard the other person. Nikki, you're still to disregard the government. You did nothing to your neighbors. You just left the country. And when you came home, they destroyed your home. You're to disregard them entirely. Where are you to blame? What? That's radical, Justin. Says Miss Al-Anon, says Mr. Al-Anon, but it just says, what's my part? You're not in Al-Anon. You are in the 4th edition of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, which is a magic book for your magic magnifying mind, says page 420. You have a magic magnifying mind, so get in here. See, the inventory is yours. You said you're still working your 4th step. The inventory is yours. So number 1, your controlling husband is none of your business. Your controlling spouse, your controlling children, parents, none of your business. The inventory is yours, not the other man's. When you see your fault, you better put them in black and white on paper. Shrink that shit down. Write it on black and white in paper. Nikki, that's just for an inventory. No, I want you to write your shopping list down. I want you to write your to-do list down, everything. This is a life instruction book. Now, let's go deeper. Someone who's taking the inventory on step 4 of their controlling spouse. Like, you see what an oxymoron that is, right, Justin? Right away, like, unmute real quick, because like, that's like right away, you guys can stop any person and say, are you God? Are you calling you see, right away, they're not even working a step because they're not admitting they're powerless. They're not giving their life to God. Because if you were making your step 3 decision and you're working on your step 4, you would never use the word controlling to describe someone else except yourself.
Yeah, that's powerful. I want you to continue on this path, but I have a follow-up question that does a little derailing, but stays on the same thing.
Okay.
But let's continue here so I don't derail everything too early.
Let me get in here and then we'll do it. So here it is. It's page 60, everybody, because fellow who says they're still working on their steps. Okay. You're on step 4. So you read on page 60 that any life run on self-will can hardly be a success. So you're armed with the facts. So just look at your person and go, you use the word controlling. So you're observing. We watch. Step 10, you're not there, but you can do that right now. We watch for. So we're watching. We're not making any judgment. We're just watching. You're seeing this person. You automatically know, page 60, that any life, doesn't just say your life, any life run on. So ask yourself, is your spouse life, if they're controlling, it must be run on self-will. So nothing's going to be a success. So I would ask you to pause and leave the room. Like, really, page 118. Couple pages I'll just throw out real quick. Page 84. This is not an overnight matter. It must continue for a lifetime. How about this? I think it's page 83. We must remember that 10 or 20 years of addiction, of drunkenness, of alcoholism makes a skeptic out of anyone. We've been in this disease for a lifetime, you and your partner. So this 10 or 20 years of craziness, of course, is going to take a long time. Let's go to page 118 real quick, though, Justin, then we'll get to our little derailment here. Mr. my spouse is controlling and I'm taking their inventory, even though I'm working on my own inventory on step 4. No, you're not at comedy hour, everybody. We're all really loony if we don't follow the exact instructions. Okay. God, here it is. You and your husband, you and your spouse, you and your family, you and your people will find that you can dispose of serious problems. Right? Serious problems. We need to move. We need to change our lifestyle and get into 12-step. You can make those big decisions. We'll have a baby easier than you can trivial ones. Who's taking out the garbage? Oh my God, he's telling me how to drive. You don't have a brake on your side. Honey, I told you to be ready at 11. Oh no, I don't even have a husband to do that. Justin laughs at me because I'm just here laying on my beanbag in my noodle robe, just like not even looking at him, just drifting out into some role play. Here we go. Next time, person who wrote in, you and your spouse have a heated discussion. Next time you start controlling him, next time they start controlling you, no matter what the subject, no matter what the situation, here's your instruction. It's a privilege to smile and say, this is getting serious. I'm getting disturbed. I don't like the word sorry, but you could if you've done something. I'm sorry, honey. I can't be in this conversation. I'm a little disturbed. I mean, we're both in 12. It sounds like you're both in 12 steps. So you can actually say, I'm out of my freaking mind. We got to talk about this later. I need to call my sponsor. I need to get in the middle. I need to get to a meeting. Like you have tools right now, even on step 4, but your one tool is never to call your spouse or think of him controlling because the inventory is yours, not the other person's. See, if you, because it says if your husband, but your partner's not here. So person who wrote in, if you are trying to live on a spiritual basis, and that's what we're doing here. We're not religious people. We're not reformers. We are spiritual seekers. We're trying to do everything in our power, the power that God is giving us because we're powerless, to avoid disagreement or contention. See, your husband, you know, and he knows. Your partner, you know, and your partner knows. They owe you more than just, I'm not drinking. I'm not going to see hookers. I'm not eating sugar anymore, honey. I'm not just manipulating you so you'll do what I want, says Miss Al-Anon. See, we all want to make good. Here it is. Don't expect too much. Why? Your ways and your partner's ways of thinking and doing are habits of years. My government's ways, with the next election, it's going to be better. My government's ways of thinking and doing. My community's ways. Go deep here. Patience. Tolerance. My Rastafari, overstanding, not understanding. You got to overstand this situation. And love. Love. Sorry, someone's calling me, Justin. It may be break up. Everyone wants to call me during Noodle. I need a computer. Yes, that's my issue. Or I can put it on airplane mode. I forgot. See, it says you just got to be loving. These are the watchwords. Show the world these things in yourself. Miss, I'm on step 4. Haven't even worked a 12-step program and think I'm going to be free right now. Let me repeat that. You're on step 4. It's a 12-step program, and you want everyone to be free, even though these are years of thinking and doing are habits of years. Live and let live are the rules. Live. You don't even know how to live. You're on step 4. And this person, your spouse, probably just did their 12 steps and that's when you really start spinning. So let them live and figure it out. Stop holding everyone's hands. Because if you're both showing a willingness to remedy your own defects, there will be no need. I don't even put little in there. I crossed that word out, Justin. I'm on page 118. There will be no need to criticize. Wow, Nikki, you need to hear this, Nikki. There's no need to criticize your government. Nikki, there's no need to criticize your neighbors. There's no need to criticize anyone. Never deny someone their right to suffer, Nikki. Whoa, I wrote that in my book, people. Never deny anyone their right to suffer. God, I need this meeting. I need this podcast. I need you. I need Rico 12. Talk to me, Justin.
Man, this is good stuff. God is coming through on this. Love that. So here's my little derailment. So I think we've covered really well this topic here, but on this same line of step 4 of getting through resentment, of looking at where was I wrong. And I heard a little bit of this in the Noodle meeting this morning that you hold every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time. What if the thing that I'm putting on my step 4 right now is something that truly was nothing of my own ability? I was molested as a child. I was raped as a child. I was beaten as a child before I had anything there. As I'm looking back at it now, 20 years later, 30 years later, how do I address that without pointing the finger? That person was abusive. How do I address that now?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I get that a lot. And as it was taught to me, because these are very sensitive subjects, like where are you to blame? Let's go through the step 4 instructions. Where are you to blame when that person, and I'm just going to say it, raped you? I don't care. I don't use the word molestation at all. It's plain, someone taught me that recently too. It's plain rape as a 4-year-old. Guess what? You have no part in that at all. 0 part. Even at 16, oh, is wearing a short? No, you have no part. Anybody under the legal age, whatever it is in your country where you're working your steps as a minor. But if you're an adult, where are you to blame? You are not taking responsibility to get better. That's all. It's that simple, really. Like, that's how it was taught to me. You're not taking the responsibility, because it says, where are we to blame? Where are we at fault? We disregard the other person. We just set apart. So where are you? I could just go down with someone. Well, let's just see. You're hating yourself. You're an adult. You're hating yourself as an adult for what happened to you as a child. That's not God's will. You're being arrogant. I know. I was blocked from God's sponsee from a long time. My friend's daughter was the most horrific thing happened. Raped, cut up, murdered, found in plastic bags. I don't even want to speak about it. How could these things happen? I don't know God's plan. And if I knew better, I would be God. So I'm being arrogant. That's where I'm at fault. I don't know God's plan. I'm being rude to myself because I hate myself. You see, like, you can go deep on these things. I'm just looking at my inventory list here, Justin. You're a grown adult where you disregard. You had no part in that violation, whatever it is against you. But you're being, dishonest, that you're no good because of it. That's a lie. So you're being angry. You're still living. You're 44 years old and you're still angry at something that happened to you at 4 years old. Like, that's not responsible. That's irresponsible. That's where you're at fault. But Nikki, I went to therapy and all these things. I understand that, but then something didn't click. So we got to go deep here, right? We really got to go deep. Like, maybe you're just been procrastinating, like you'll deal with it later. Like, I'll go deep here. My mom has not dealt with the fact that her husband took a pistol and blew his head off in Arizona. Right there, Justin. It was in Prescott. They landed the helicopter in the middle of the street. He didn't die instantly. My mom has not sought anything. I took her to one suicide survivor meeting and she's done nothing. Where is she at fault? Where is she to blame? If she was to do an inventory now, she had no part in that. The only thing she's not doing is that she's not taking responsibility to get better. And that's a hard reality to face because we're so used to being driven. Page 62, 100 forms of fear drive me. 100 forms of self-pity drive me. 100 forms of self-seeking and 100 forms of self-delusion. That's 400 forms of madness. That's why I need you. I need the big book. I need a fellowship. I mean, it says it, without help. Page 59. What's it? Life. The traumas of the life, because now I've got my mom living with me forever, untreated, Justin, in my home. That energy permeates everywhere because it was the person who, you're living with a controlling husband. What about living with a really sad mom forever? What about living with a mother who just doesn't believe in anything? That's my lot. And so what do I have to do? I have to do this work or I won't make it. I have to disregard her. And I have to see her. Perhaps the people who wrong me, page 66, are spiritually sick. Oh, back to the question you just asked, is derailment. Well, I was raped, Nikki. I was abused. I didn't meet my daddy. I don't know what happened in my life. Well, how about this, friend? This is our course. We are picking this. Hold my hand. Hold me. Get in here with me. This is our course. The people who wrong us are spiritually sick. I know the person I don't know the person who did this to my friend's child, but, I sponsor people like him. He was watching porn, child porn, and he went out and grabbed her, Justin, and he was sick. That's it. That's it. Now, can I talk about it with certain? No, because he's a monster. But I work at the front of the lines. This is a sick person. Thank God he was so sick that he didn't contest it and went right to jail. And my friend never had to go to a trial and hear this stuff. You understand, there's a grace of God right there. The hand of God's working at all times. But this is what I speak of. Everybody, page 66. This is our course. The people who wrong us are spiritually sick. And Justin, I have done awful things to my children. No, not the same things. No, I didn't. The unmentionables that we don't want to mention. No, but I ignored my child. I threw my son out to his dad, to baby daddy number 2. I'm busy with my lover. Don't call me. Even though these things feed him and I'm pointing to my breast, those things fed my son. And I'm too busy with my drug of choice to come home. What's worse here? So we're all sick. We're all just trying to get to the light. It's radical here, you guys. My past is my greatest asset. Nothing happens in God's world by mistake. I am to know that any life run on self-will, page 60, can hardly be a success, that this is only, page 85, a daily reprieve. My mind only gets free daily. And then I go to sleep. And then something happens in the night and I wake up and I forget that I'm a spearhead, Justin. I forget that he is the father and I am the child. I forgot I made a sincere decision that I'm going to live this 12-step lifestyle and work for a relationship with God. Page 29 is what this is about. That's it. This is not easy, Justin. So let me just look at the time. We still have a few more minutes if you want to think about anything. I mean, it could be a shorter podcast. I don't care, but I'm just drifting here. So you talk to me.
Yeah. So I want to kind of, I feel to rephrase a little bit of what you shared there for my clarity and maybe for the clarity of somebody else too. If something happened to me as a child, maybe rape, whatever it may be, I was beaten by my parents, by somebody else. Maybe I unwittingly married somebody that I had no idea was an addict. And I think that, whatever, and I hold that against them forever and ever and ever. I hold that against everybody of whatever ilk that may be forever and ever and ever. Where I was wrong was not in the action that happened to me, but where I am wrong is when I continue to treat others and hold what happened to me against others. And I put that wall, that barrier between me and them. And thus when I have a barrier between me and whether it be all men or whether it be all whatever it may be, all people, I'm putting a barrier between me and my higher power also. And I'm blocking myself off from the sunlight of the spirit. And that is where I am wrong, is in holding that grudge forever and holding it against others. So any other further thoughts on that?
No, here it is. My final thought on that really is, someone said it today. I hope you're listening, Sid, in India. You're building a whole fellowship out there with this movement of our big book workbook. And here it is. He told me this every day, page 30. He gets up and smashes the idea that he's like anyone. See, other people can dwell. And I could have got deep into hate over what happened to my friend. I mean, her daughter's the same age as my daughter who's living now. Like, I could get deep and hate everyone. I could get deep and hate all men because I didn't meet my dad. I could get deep and hate all alcoholics because Grandpa, before he did that, my mom's husband of 25 years, he pointed the gun at my mom. I could hate the human race, but I have to smash. I want to read it. Let me open my book here. I have to smash the idea, page 30. Let me just make sure I read it properly. Here it is. We learned that Nikki learned. See, I'm learning that I have to fully concede. I have to fully admit to my innermost self, not to my mommy, not to Justin B, not to my fellows, not to my sponsor, not to my friends, to me, that I am an addict. I am an alcoholic. I am a, I don't identify as alcohol, but I suffer the disease of alcoholism. I mean, I've heard Justin, who's never have a drink, identify as an alcoholic. You can identify however you want, suffering the disease of alcoholism. Yes, I have to do that every day. This is the first step in recovery. See, we're on what page is that? Page 30. And we are now the first step in recovery right here. The delusion, which is a lie from the pit of hell. It is a lie from the depths of the darkest ether that I am like other people. Other people can be angry. Other people cannot forgive. Other people can hate. I don't get that luxury. Justin, it says I have to smash. It doesn't say accept. It says smash into a zillion pieces. Everybody think about the sand. You ever hold the small little molecules? I heard that in one grain of sand, there's 10 stars. Go deep. Smash the idea that you're like anyone. You're laser designed. Justin and I are laser designed by the creator of the universe. Every hair on our head is known by this creator. Our names are written in the Lamb Book of Life. We are chosen. That's radical. That's where our thoughts should be. Our thought life. Page 84. Our thought life will be placed, or is it page 87, Justin? Let me see. I'm just roughing here. Yep. It's on page 86. Our thought life. This is all about a thought life, everyone. What are you thinking about? Are you thinking about your controlling husband, spouse? Are you thinking about 1982 when that person violated every cell in your body? Are you thinking about all the horrible choices you made in your 50 or 25 years of life? Go here. Your thought life will be placed on a much higher plane when your thinking is cleared of wrong motives. Check your motives. Your motives are to serve and to love. That's how simple it is, Justin. So, boop, boop, be do. What are your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, let's wrap this up with something there. If I'm coming into the rooms initially and somebody says I have to smash the idea that I'm like anybody else, I'm taking that as a negative. I'm taking that as I don't have the ability to do anything like that. But now as I look back at it, smashing the idea that I'm not like anybody else is like a superpower. I am a child of an all-powerful, perfectly loving God who has put enough obstacles in my path to where I've fallen on my face enough to where I'm now willing to look up and say, okay, I haven't been able to do this. God, you make me what you want me to be, and I will be the superhero that you designed me for, rather than the person that falls on his face over and over and over again. So everybody, look at it that way. You have a superpower that God has blessed you with as you, smash the very idea, the delusion that you are like anybody else. Everybody keep coming back. It works when I work it, so work it. You are worth it.